Later. The Dallas Cowboys pregame show, live from the Star in Frisco, is brought to you by AT&T. Academy, the official sporting goods retailer of the Dallas Cowboys. And by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full access to coaches' film and game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl. Subscribe at DallasCowboys.com/Game Pass.
For just the third time in 30 days, the Dallas Cowboys are back in action. This time it's from M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland. It's the Ravens and the Cowboys, a little Tuesday night football for you. And welcome in to Cowboys pregame live here from the Star in Frisco as we break it down. The Cowboys, after 12 days off, finally have football again here in 2020. Welcome into our Academy Sports and Outdoor studio, everybody. And just because it's been 12 days since Cowboys football doesn't mean it was a vacation for our Cowboys pregame live crew. We've got Barry Church, Isaiah Stanback, Nate Newton, and Danny Surek to join us here in a moment. I'm Kyle Yeomans. And, well, guys, it's been a while since I've seen your faces. It's fantastic to be back at it again. The Cowboys last playing on Thanksgiving against the Washington football team, a game that Cowboys fans would like to forget. And they finally get a chance to get that bad taste out of their mouth today. But when you look at this, it's kind of a challenge for this ball club and a long time off. It's almost a second bye week, Barry. What have this Cowboys team been up to lately to try and make sure they combat some of the time off?
Well, look, I think one or two things could have happened during this long break they had off. I mean, they could have either used this to rest, relax, kind of get that recharge the energy in the batteries, kind of get ready for this game and come out focused and ready to roll, or what could have happened is this could have zapped any type of momentum that they had. They started the game lackluster and they started slow, and we cannot afford to start this game slow against the Baltimore Ravens. So let's hope the Cowboys are ready, focused, and ready to take home this W tonight.
Momentum?
I knew you was coming. That's what we want.
No. What we needed to do during this break, right, this second bye week that we were blessed with, is to regroup and refocus, right? Mm-hmm. Regroup and refocus and establish a sense of confidence. This team has been playing with we'll always be talking about the musical chairs that we have up front. These guys need to establish some form of confidence going into this week and in this final push so that they can position themselves for a run at the playoffs. Take care of business today, and you set yourself up for an opportunity.
Well, you just said something that caught me off guard. A run at the playoffs? That certainly can't be the case, right?
You got a chance.
3-8. Let's take a look at some of the NFC East standings here. But the Cowboys certainly right back in the thick of things whenever you talk about the division. Now, they didn't get much help this week from two of the better teams in the NFL as the Giants took down the Seattle Seahawks to improve to 5-7. They sit atop the NFC East standings. Washington right behind them, handing Pittsburgh their first loss. An 11-0 Steelers team taken down by the football team as they continued their momentum. They're now on a 3-game winning streak, but Philadelphia not looking great. You look at Dallas, they still struggled a little bit against Washington and playing 4 complete quarters, but when it all comes down to it, you're still a game back if you get a win today, and that has to be the focus for Mike McCarthy and his squad, right?
It has to be the focus, because no matter what's going on, look, this isn't the season we thought was going to happen. I mean, let's be honest. We're 3-8 right now, but we still have a shot. All your aspirations, all your goals are still obtainable through this terrible division. All we got to do is get a couple wins, get things rolling in the right direction, and things will work out for themselves, and hopefully we can make a playoff push.
So you're saying there's a chance.
Just a sliver.
All right. No, I mean, it's exactly what you just said, BC. All you look for when you come into camp is an opportunity, right? You look for an opportunity to go to the playoffs. And when you have that opportunity to go to playoffs, you want to make sure that you take advantage of it. Control what you can control and go out there and win the games. Win the play, win the quarter, win the series, right? Win the games ultimately. And hopefully that's enough to position yourself at the top of your division so that you can make a run for the playoffs. That's the opportunity that's in front of them currently. Go out there and handle your business.
And the tagline below us says, can the Cowboys take advantage of a struggling Ravens team? This Baltimore team that's pretty desperate for wins as well. They've lost 4 of their last 5, have had some COVID troubles in their locker room over the last couple of weeks. They had 24 cases, positive cases of COVID-19, and a ton of those guys coming off of of the COVID-19 list this week, and that's one of the reasons why this game has been pushed back an entire full week almost. But when you're looking at the Cowboys and their matchup today, how do they take advantage of Baltimore?
Well, Kyle, I'm going to be completely honest with you right now. I'm not sure we can take advantage of this Ravens team right now. I'm going to be honest. Look, they got a lot of fresh legs coming back. I mean, you got Calais Campbell on the defensive line, who's a complete stud out there. You got Yannick Ngakoue. Those guys and you got Derek Wolfe as well. Those guys apply amazing pressure. And in the back end, you got probably arguably the best cornerback tandem back there in Humphreys and Peters. So it's going to be hard to move the ball consistent against this defense. And we haven't even spoken about Baltimore's offense. I mean, they got J.K. Dobbins, a three-headed monster over there, Gus Edwards, and that's not even talking about what Lamar can do with his feet. So it's going to be tough. The chips are stacked high against the Cowboys this afternoon, but hey, maybe we can play mistake-free football and get a dub.
Yeah, I mean, you gave us so much confidence right there. I mean, it's tough. It's a tough battle, right? Everybody who plays Baltimore understands these matchups, right? A lot of the times, unless you're playing the Kansas City Chiefs, matchup to matchup, you're probably not going to be on a positive end of those comparisons. However, these guys are coming off a big lapse, right? They're coming off a lot of time off, and you talked about the fresh legs, but the one downside to having all this time off is, it takes a little bit to get your engines running sometimes when you first step on the field. And coming off the fact that these guys have lost a few games here recently, you have an opportunity to punch these guys in the mouth. And when you punch these guys in the mouth, it's going to create some doubt. Right? When these guys have come off some losses, they come off some time, right? They haven't touched the field competitively. You go out there and punch them in the mouth, strike fast, you create doubt, and now all of a sudden you have opportunity to get ahead and hopefully stay ahead in this ball game.
It's been 6 days, so it's actually a short week for the Baltimore Ravens since they last played a game. Yeah. However, but the majority of those guys who had COVID haven't played in close to 18 days. Yep. That's how long they have been out and off the field. Now, the Cowboys have only faced the Ravens 5 times in their program's or organization's history. They're 1-4. Their only win against Baltimore coming back in 2016. But a man who's seen quite a bit of Baltimore in his career, Andy Dalton, will be behind center for the Cowboys. He's faced them 16 times. Here's what he sees with Baltimore moving into the week.
I think the biggest thing is you got to keep having positive plays. They've been really good on third down, and they've got a good rush, good scheme with all the pressures that they bring. So, for you got to stay ahead of the chains. Historically, the Baltimore defense has been really good, and so, just facing them so many years from my time in Cincinnati, understand that I've had a lot of good games against them.
Andy, do you feel like you're getting into more time on task has allowed you to get a rhythm with your guys at all, or this is starting to feel like a normal thing, even if this schedule has been so strange here in the last 10, 11 days?
Yeah, for sure. I just think the more that we're able to practice, more that we're able to do things, I feel the more comfortable I'm getting, the more I'm understanding our guys, and I think that's been big. Obviously, the schedule's changed several times, and so for us, I think it's just making sure everybody's on the same page with everything that we're doing, and the communication with everything.
How do you view this division race over the final 5 weeks of the regular season?
Everything's still out in front of us, and so for us, we got to worry about us. We got to worry about what we can control, and that's going to be these next 5 games. And we handle our business. We'll see how this whole thing shakes out. But there's still a lot of football left to be played.
Andy Dalton, 8-8 all-time against Baltimore in his career. 21 touchdowns, 18 interceptions. He's had some good, he's had some bad against the Ravens during his time with the Cincinnati Bengals. But overall, do you feel better about having Andy Dalton behind center, somebody who knows this organization?
Compared to the options we have behind him, I'm going to say yes. I encourage Andy Dalton to be out there for us. I'm saying he's better than Garrett Gilbert. He's better than Ben DiNucci. And we're going to need that Pro Bowl Andy Dalton. We're going to need that Andy Dalton that had 8 wins against this Ravens team, because they're loaded on defense, like I mentioned earlier. So we're going to need his precise passing out there. Get the ball to your playmakers. Let's see what you got, big dog.
Yeah, I agree. I think Andy Dalton is our best option right now, and I believe that we're starting to see flashes of what he used to be, right? The Andy Dalton that we all expected to come in here into this organization, we're starting to see those those glimpses of him. His precision passing, right? He's thrown some dimes. Guys have dropped him, right? He's thrown some really good passes out there. His time management, his game management, right? His ability to coordinate this whole offense, it's all starting to come together. So I think that this team is starting to build confidence. I think that he's gaining his confidence. He's gaining the respect. Now it's all about the coaches putting him in position position to be successful.
There is a lot of pressure on Andy Dalton. There's a lot of pressure on Kellen Moore to put up points against a defense that doesn't give up points. A top 3 scoring defense in the NFL. Let's go out to M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore and hear from Nick Eatman for the first time, as that offensive line has some holes to fill. Nick?
Thank you, Kyle. And yes, here from M&T Stadium in Baltimore, where it's going to be a really chilly night for the Cowboys and the Ravens, and a lot of wind here. We'll see how it affects the passing game. Good thing to note for Andy Dalton, he's obviously spent most of his career in Cincinnati, so he's played in games like this. We'll see how it affects him and this Cowboys offense. Now, one aspect that might affect him is affected the Cowboys all year long is the offensive tackle position, and of course took another hit with Zach Martin going down last game. He's been moved to IR. That could be the end of the season for him, and really when you think about Cam Irving being out for this game as well, not on IR but out with a sprained knee, their Cowboys are down to their 5th and 6th tackle. Of course, Tyron Smith and Lyle Collins have missed pretty much the entire season. So now down to 5 and 6. I was listening to a little bit of Baltimore radio, and they're talking about how Ronnie Stanley, their all-pro tackle, has been out, and it's really affected things. That's nice, but the Cowboys, like I said, have had 4 down, now down to 5 and 6. Let's see what happens with this offensive line, with Terrence Steele playing on the right side. Also with Jordan Mills now elevated from the practice squad. He could be a guy that finds the rotation as well. Brandon Knight expected to start as well on the other side. So offensive line, offensive tackle is going to be really key for the Cowboys. It's been all year, but if the Cowboys are going to stop this Ravens defense and their pass rush, offensive tackles are going to have to play their best game. Kyle, back to you.
Thank you very much, Nick. Today will be the 8th different Cowboys offensive line starting combo. Nate Newton, 6-time Pro Bowler over here at the Legend set. But Nate, you've been around the league for a long time.
Yes.
I mean, 15 seasons you played in the league. You've covered it after that. But have you ever seen a season like this that has been so detrimental to an offensive line?
Yes, sir. My 3-13 year, man, we had those many changes. Man, we had players going in and out of the lineup. And it's a hard thing. Your offensive coordinator, your offensive line coaches, they're connected at the hip, trying to keep this thing going. And these guys, they got to get some type of unity going, some type of belief in one another. And the run game has to be big today.
It has to be big, but whenever you're talking about the offensive coordinator and the offensive line being in lockstep to try and combat some of the injuries, how do you anticipate the Cowboys scheme-wise trying to fix that problem and helping out maybe a Terrence Steele or a Brandon Knight on the edge?
Once again, I go back to my past. You know, when I dealt with Coach Johnson, we played a Philadelphia Eagle team that hit us for 11 sacks and on numerous hits. The next time we played them, he told the quarterback, drop back, first read, throw away the ball. We don't want it to get this way for the Cowboys here today, but it can get this way. Once our quarterback make his initial read, if it's not there, he's got to either get rid of the ball or run it. You cannot hesitate. And once again, I think we should run no more than 50 plays. I think we should walk to the offensive line, walk back from the offensive line, keep their offense off the field.
You want to make sure and limit the fact of the chances that front seven has at this offensive line, and they're doing so with a ton of injuries. One of those injuries, Cam Irving, he is on the inactive list. Here's what the rest of the inactive list looks like for the Cowboys today, and one of the big things talking about this inactive list is there's not a name on there that we haven't seen all year, and that's Reggie Robinson, the rookie corner/safety out of Tulsa. He was a 4th-round pick. He is active for the first time today. Some of those other names on there, like I said, Cam Irving, Bradley and Nye on the inactive list as well. But big names in Anthony Brown. You also don't have Donovan Wilson. You are able to see maybe a little bit of Reggie Robinson today. But how much trouble is this secondary in with no Brown and no Wilson at the helm?
We know they're in trouble. But the bottom line is, we got a guy who's going to talk about that. It's going to be called open field tackling. Mm-hmm. And we got a preacher that's going to preach about that a little later on. But we got to have open field tackling. When these guys catch the ball, it's okay. Tackle them, bring them down. No missed tackles as safeties and corners today.
Does it help the fact that this is a Baltimore offense that doesn't throw the ball particularly well?
Does it help? That's a godsend, my brother. I'll tell you what, put 9 on the line, make them throw, because I think we have a better chance, even with our secondary being messed up the way it is.
You're talking about Lamar Jackson, how to slow down Lamar Jackson, how to slow down that backfield for the Baltimore Ravens. Barry Church is going to talk about that a little bit later. That's that preacher he's talking about. But you also got to look at on the offensive side of the football. Ezekiel Elliott really needs a big game. You mentioned that the run game needs to get going behind this offensive line. But whenever you look at the 32 yards, he had a fumble against Washington. How does Kellen Moore find a way to get Zeke rolling like Zeke is used to rolling?
Blind faith. Just what you've seen in the past, what you know this kid can do. He's aware of what's happening. I think he's going to cover the ball all the way from receiving the ball to going to the ground. He's going to be aware of that. But you have to save your offense through this guy. And Tony Pollard, give Tony Pollard his 10 to 12 plays. Zeke has to be the mainstay. As long as there's no negative yardage and no balls on the ground, you have to keep their offense off the field through Zeke.
It's easier said than done to hold on to the football against this Baltimore defense. They forced 21 fumbles. That's the most in the NFL. How does Zeke hold on to the football better than he has already this season?
Just, tuck, grab, go, and just hold on to it. He may not have a big run or anything, but he's a sledgehammer anyway. Just hit up in there, see your first read, take it, stay with the line as they block. When you see an opening, hit up in it, but stay covered until you show this team that you're not going to fumble. I'm talking about the Ravens. They're going to be grabbing and holding. 21-21, which 21 breaks.
Did you ever fumble during your career? Ever?
No, I recovered a few. You know, Emmett didn't fumble a lot, but I recovered a few.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Wanted to see if you were experiencing that one. And I mean, with a running back like Emmitt Smith behind you didn't have a whole lot of opportunity. Now, let's hear from Zeke himself on what has been really the most frustrating part about just a frustrating year overall.
No, I mean, I just want to win. That's my main focus, and is going out there and winning. And that's all I can focus on. And I wouldn't say that I would have acted a certain way a couple years ago. I did have a little outburst in college, but I think I learned from that. So I learned pretty early. But I mean, I just want to go win football games. That's all I'm worried about.
Zeke, when you think about what your role has been this year on the team as a leader and keeping everybody together, how much does it feel different from a year ago, and how much have you grown as a leader this season?
I mean, the obvious differences is you don't have Dak out there. You don't have the big fellas. You don't have LC. You don't have Tyron out there at tackle. So there is some voided. There kind of has been a little bit of voided roles that guys have had to step up into. And so I mean, just kind of taking a bigger role. Yeah.
Have you been pretty conscientious about doing that? I mean, do you feel it's your obligation because your status on the team to pick up more during this period, or is this just you're more comfortable with it now because you've been in the league longer? I
think I'm definitely more comfortable with it now because I've been in the league longer. I've been around a lot longer, and I think it just at first when you're young, it's kind of a little bit weird because guys have been there longer than you. But I'm year 5. Getting old, so it's definitely comes a lot easier.
You obviously were a teammate with Dez Bryant, and now you guys are gonna be playing against them Tuesday night. What do you think it'll be like?
I think it's gonna be fun. Dez, he was a great teammate. One of my favorite teammates of all time. Even better player. I think it's definitely great to see him getting this shot again, and I wish him the best.
What made him one of your favorites? Is it because of that type of energy he brought, or just the way he was as a person off the field, or his playing style?
His energy and just his mentality. Like his mentality, I think is just it's unmatched. Just the dog mentality, just the way he goes and attacks the football. I'd probably say definitely his mentality and play style.
Zeke, obviously a former teammate of Dez Bryant, talking about his relationship with the veteran wide receiver as Dez takes on the Cowboys for the first time. It's not in Arlington, but there's still a lot of thought process that goes into the return of Dez Bryant and going up against the star on the other side of his helmet. Rob Phillips has some more.
Let's face it, 2020 needs more stories like Dez Bryant's comeback with the Ravens. Yes, it is strange to see Dez wearing number 88 in purple. And yes, he didn't leave the Cowboys on his terms 2 years ago. Dez versus Dallas on Tuesday night really shouldn't be about the past. It's about what Bryant has accomplished by returning to the NFL, by beating the odds, and by earning a spot with the Ravens. Many thought that Dez's career had ended in 2018. 7 months after the Cowboys released him that April, he tore his Achilles tendon in practice, just 2 days into a new contract with the New Orleans Saints. To his credit, Bryant has worked his way back. First on the Ravens practice squad, then signing to their active roster 2 weeks ago. Bryant is the Cowboys' all-time leader in touchdown catches and their unofficial leader in highlight reel catches. When CeeDee Lamb made a spectacular touchdown catch against Minnesota 2 weeks ago, a lot of fans had flashbacks to Dez wearing number 88. That speaks to the moments he gave Cowboys Nation for 8 seasons. By all accounts, Bryant would have preferred to finish his career in Dallas, where he's a potential Ring of Honor pick one day. But Bryant is a good fit for Baltimore. The Ravens offense has been looking to get on track lately, and Bryant provides another option for MVP quarterback Lamar Jackson. The Cowboys have 2 inspirational comeback stories on this year's roster. Aldon Smith and Randy Gregory have faced past personal issues and past suspensions, but are rebounding with productive seasons. Dez Bryant's story coming back from injury is also one of perseverance, and we need in 2020 as many of those stories as possible. For DallasCowboys.com, I'm Rob Phillips.
Dez Bryant had quite the career in Dallas. 73 receiving touchdowns for Dez Bryant, first in Cowboys history. Also, not to mention, he's 7th in NFL history for a wide receiver receiving touchdown-wise to go up against the team that he owns the record for. The other 6 are Hall of Famers. So he's in pretty rare company whenever it comes to an opponent and somebody or facing a team that he was with for quite some time. But each of you have played against the Cowboys before. And, I mean, of course, there's a little love lost there. There's no love lost there for either side. But what's it like mentally going into a game like that?
It's hard. It's stressful because I knew a lot of those guys coming into the game. So I mean, I teammates with those guys for 7 years, and we went to battle together. So it's kind of hard emotionally. You go out there, you want to go out there and punish that old team. I definitely thought I was going to because they didn't re-up me coming into that next year. So I wanted to take it out on the Cowboys, but I was sorely mistaken. I got beat for 2 touchdowns, and it was a horrible day. So Dez, don't be like me. Come back here and do what you got to do.
For me, it was the Washington Redskins. I got cut in training camp for them. I'm so happy. Thank you, Washington. When I played them again, I punished them, But for Flores Dez, I wish him the best, but not today. I don't want to see this today.
Not want to see this today. Let's take a look at some of those stats that Dez had during his career in Dallas. You saw the 73 receiving touchdowns. He's 3rd in Cowboys history with receptions, and he's right in the top 5 as well in terms of receiving yards. And Barry, you played with Dez. I mean, you probably had your training camp battles.
Oh, yeah.
Your practice battles with Dez before. What do you expect from him out of this game tonight?
Well, I expect Dez to come on the field and be the most passionate football player on the field. I mean, he hasn't changed since 2010. He loves the game of football, and he died for the game of football. So I accept that he would be the most passionate guy on the field. Now, look, I know he said it's water under the bridge between him and the Dallas Cowboys, but look, you can't tell me that. I already know for a fact that this guy is going to want to take it out on our defense and on our young defensive backs. So, look, those guys better be ready because they're going to get a handful of Dez Bryant tonight.
There's going to be some packages for Dez.
Oh, yeah.
When that red zone comes, Dez, he probably quiet, been the perfect teammate. But when they get in that 20 and in, he going to go to Holland. It's my time, Coach. I promise you.
Those routes are going to be a little bit crisper. He's going to get a little quicker off the line of scrimmage. He's going to have a little extra juice when you go up against the Dallas Cowboys. He's also the first major 88 to face the Cowboys. I mean, you talk about Irvin, you talk about Drew Pearson. I mean, all those major 88 receivers that have faced the Dallas Cowboys. Dez is the first one to do so. But there's a new 88 in town, and that's CeeDee Lamb. I mean, you look at a guy that's turning into a bit of a future star and somebody that started off the season hot, but lately it hasn't been easy sledding. Denny Surak joins us, and she has more on CeeDee's season.
As a rookie, everything can be turned into a learning opportunity, and wide receiver CeeDee Lamb can attest to that firsthand. Not even taking COVID-19 protocols into consideration, Lamb is learning how to work through adversities in his first year in the league. He's already had to play with 4 quarterbacks this season. He's adjusting to the speed of the game, and he's also learning the importance of having a short memory on the field after making a mistake. Against Washington, Lamb dropped what should have been a touchdown in the end zone in the third quarter, and says while that play still eats away at him, he's learning the importance of moving on past a mistake and focusing on the next play ahead.
Yeah, that definitely eats me up. One, I'm tough on myself. 2, I really hate dropping passes, but you know, it's all part of the game. I definitely learned from that, for sure. And I wish I had that one back, but you know, we can't really live in the past. I got a game coming up.
Despite the quarterback carousel, Lamb has been consistently reliable his rookie season. He's racked up 650 receiving yards, the second most among rookies, only behind Vikings receiver Justin Jefferson. Cowboys wide receiver Michael Gallup is only 2 years removed from his rookie season and says he's been quite impressed with his teammate.
The kid's just a ball player. It doesn't matter who's throwing us the ball, you know, who's in the game. He's going to make plays for us regardless, and he's going to do it for a long time. So props to him. He's going to keep, you know, making plays like I said. He's good. He's got a good foundation going, coming out of his rookie year, and he's still pressing on. So great player, great attitude about it. Blessed to have him.
He's a freak athlete. I mean, you watch him, you guys all know him. He can run as fast as anybody. He's quick in and out of the breaks. He's got great body control, but I think the last one is probably the most impressive. His ability to just stay balanced and like focused on balls that shouldn't be catchable.
Michael Gallup says he's known CeeDee Lamb has what it takes to be successful in this league ever since their first summer workout together this year, where Gallup says every catch seemed to come so easy for Lamb. While it's cool to see those impressive catches and touchdowns from Lamb, it's also important to note that as a rookie, he's learning how to take those mistakes and turn them into learning opportunities. Kyle.
Great work as always, Danny. CeeDee Lamb at the top of the list in terms of all rookie receivers with 53 receptions this season. He's in the top 5s in yards. He's in top 10 in terms of touchdowns. I mean, this is a guy who hasn't necessarily seen the same success over the last couple of weeks. But Isaiah, you mentioned it earlier with Andy Dalton finding a bit of a rhythm at the quarterback spot. Can he have a breakout game again today?
I hope so. I feel like CeeDee and Andy Dalton have had a few bad dates. You know what I mean? I feel like the, you know, it's like the person that you take out and you have a couple bad dates, but you're like, you know what? I think there's still something there. Right? We still got a little flair. You know, Andy Dalton dropped the ball on CeeDee Lamb a number of times for a couple of potential touchdowns, and CeeDee's dropped them. So that's what I'm referring to when I say a couple bad dates. And I think this is the time for they have a little makeup. Right? I think it's a makeup game.
Yes.
And I think that CeeDee Lamb's going to need to be what we talked about a couple weeks ago, a little security blanket or a little night-night blanket. We got Schultz on one side, but also CeeDee's going to need to be there because you can best believe that Baltimore's going to bring the pressure. And I think CeeDee can win these one-on-one matchups and become an outlet for Andy.
And I want to echo that. Quickness, getting the ball out with quickness is the key. And Schultz and CeeDee Lamb are those two guys that are closest to you, that are most direct to you. You got to believe that CeeDee Lamb is going to have a big day.
Hopefully he does. And underneath a secondary of the Ravens that's very stout and forces a lot of turnovers. And most specifically, it's the guys like the Marlon Humphreys and also the Marcus Peters of the world in that secondary that force a lot of turnovers. This whole receiving core has a lot going up against it. How do they have a little bit of success against a guy like that with 3 interceptions, 3 forced fumbles, and, he's recovered a couple of those as well.
Yeah, and he will jump routes. What they do as a defense is they blitz a lot, and they give you fake packages like they're going to blitz. They'll back out of there and bring a guy late. And these guys here are calculated risk takers. They would say, hey, high percentage plays, they're going to jump certain routes.
Absolutely. And Marcus Peters is what we call a goon.
Yeah.
In the league, right? What we call a goon. And a goon, for people that don't know about it, is the person that you want to take in the alley with you, right?
Right.
He is one who's going to punch you in your mouth. He's going to put hands on you at the line of scrimmage. He's going to talk bad about you. He's going to talk about your mama, your sister, everybody else. And he's going to challenge you and see if you have dog in you, right? And we know that Cooper is nice and quiet and all that, but guess what? We're going to find out tonight who has the biggest dog in him, because Peters is going to be in his hip pocket all night long.
So you're saying it's a mental game between the matchup of Marcus Peters and even Marlon Humphrey. I want want to throw him into the mix as well.
Yes.
He's gotten the peanut punch down this season. He forces fumbles like no other in the NFL, but also Amari Cooper and that matchup with what Cooper has bringing to the table today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, we know Cooper, he's a dog, man. He
Yes,
runs
he
some
is.
routes, man. He's fast. But I don't think we've seen him this year with somebody in his face and as tenacious and as deliberate as Peters is going to be. We've talked about guys, like Peterson from Arizona who have the ability to play man coverage, but Peters is going to put his hands on them from snap one to the end of the game. And we're going to see how Cooper responds to it.
It's either going to be a big bark or a small bark. Or bow wow, okay? That's just how it's going to be tonight. It's going to be physical.
Yep.
And everything will have to be speeded up. Your routes going to have to be quicker. You have to make some plays for this quarterback. Absolutely. You cannot leave off that field and not giving everything you have as a wide receiver because y'all are the big playmakers for this team, point blank.
It's going to be physical, but like Isaiah said a moment ago, the mental is going to be huge tonight. Here's what Amari Cooper had to say about the mental side of preparing for a Baltimore team, especially in a year that's been so unpredictable like 2020.
Yeah, we definitely are still in the mix. And we definitely still have a shot at this thing. Obviously, with the circumstance that we're in regarding our division and things like that. So, yeah, definitely.
Andy's been getting rid of the ball pretty quickly this season. How, as a receiver, do you have to be conscious of that and just aware for your route running?
It's a good thing, for a quarterback to get rid of the ball, to get the ball out of his hands fast. Hey, the defensive linemen, those guys are fast, talented. They get to the quarterback real fast, and so, when you get the ball out of your hands fast, I would say it's a good thing. But, if you want the ball at wide receiver, then you better get open fast.
Amari, you faced Marcus Peters several times dating back to your days in the AFC West when he played for the Chiefs and you were with the Raiders. You guys have built up a rivalry and familiarity with each other over the years. From your previous one-on-one matchups and what you've seen on tape from him this week, what stands out about his coverage ability?
I would say the thing that stands out is, he's a ball hawk. He's always looking to make that big play for his team, to catch an interception or to get a PBU. And I would say that's the biggest thing.
It's going to be a tough mountain to climb for Amari Cooper to have some success against that secondary of Baltimore. It might be even tougher of a mountain to climb for this defense of the Dallas Cowboys to slow down the backfield that includes Lamar Jackson, Mark Ingram, and J.K. Dobbins. Have you ever been to church on a Tuesday? Well, now you're about to because Barry Church takes us to service. Barry, how did the Cowboys slow down this defense?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to church service. Now look, on the last time you guys were around, we had one of the best all-around backs, that's Dalvin Cook. But the guy I got tonight, the guest tonight, blows that out of the water. We got reigning MVP Lamar Jackson. Now look, this guy is a bona fide playmaker. He's basically the definition of a game changer. And what he is basically a human highlight reel on the football field. But look, like always, there's no need to worry. There's no need to be afraid because Coach Church, I got the solutions and I got the keys to slow down Lamar Jackson and this Ravens offense. So let's stop wasting time. Let's get to the list. Number one, it's all about the rush lanes. I don't care who's coming. Defensive line, linebackers, secondary players. We've got to contain this guy and we got to collapse the pocket as a unit. I don't want to see guys rushing past Lamar Jackson because all you're going to do is open up more rush lanes for this guy to escape through. We have to collapse the pocket as a unit, get this guy on the ground, make him beat us with his arms, not his legs, and I think we can take advantage of it. Number two on my list is we have got to disguise our coverages or our intentions. We can't give this guy the study guide to the test before the game because he'll pick us apart, I promise you. If we're running man, show a little zone coverage look, and vice versa. If you want to play zone, show a little man coverage, a little blitz. Get this guy thinking post-snap to give your D linemen, your rushers, give them an extra opportunity, an extra tick just to get to Lamar Jackson and cause havoc in the backfield. I promise you we're going to need it. We have to disguise our intentions. And that brings me to my third and most important point of all. we have got to be great in space. We've got to be great open field tacklers. Look, this guy is slippery. He's going to get through the cracks eventually. Maybe 4 to 5 times he's going to scramble. But the difference between a 10-yard scramble and a 50-yard touchdown is great open field tackling. I don't care how you get him down. If it's an ankle, if it's a shoelace, do whatever you got to do to bring this guy to the ground. We're going to need it. And if you can't do it by yourself, force them back to your help. Your guys are coming with you. They're coming to bring him down. We need all we can. We have got to be great in space. Now look, like last time, I promise you, if you listen to Coach Church, not only will you slow down Lamar Jackson and this Ravens team, but you'll walk away with a W. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Now look, that's all we have for Church's service. Let's get back to Kyle and the crew.
You know, that's one way to break it down, I think, whenever it comes to Barry Church, taking us to church on how to slow down Lamar Jackson. I want to ask you guys the same sort of question, kind of echo what he was talking about, but I want to apply it to the entire offense. I mean, this is an offense that brings a bunch of guys back, but Nate, how do they slow down this Ravens attack?
Like you said, perfect tackling. Read your keys. They like to do the run option. Read your keys. Fill your gap. Do not let anybody move you. Control the line of scrimmage. Not so much as penetrating, but making sure your man and your gap is filled. And your linebackers have to be perfect tacklers tonight. They cannot miss.
Yeah, when it comes to Lamar Jackson, like we talked about it in the film room earlier in the week, you want to make sure that you go up the field and kind of bottle him in, right? You want to bottle him in because he's uber aware of guys that are in his peripheral vision, right? And he has a tendency to keep his feet a little bit too busy, right? He throws on the move, he becomes inaccurate, so you want to disrupt him, and then once he gets out the pocket, you have to be disciplined. Guys in the secondary, you need to stay on your guys. Linebackers, don't come downhill because he's faster than you. He will eat your angle up. So play discipline, play smart, and we'll have an opportunity to go out here and stop these guys on offense.
Well, you look at Dallas, still dead last in scoring defense. They're also in the bottom 3 in terms of run defense as well. So this year they haven't had a ton of success slowing down the run, and I think J.K. Dobbins, along with Mark Ingram, are going to have a pretty fair share of rushing yards today. But when you look at who is tabbed with slowing down the run, it's got to be Demarcus Lawrence. Here's what he's had to say on whether or not he's happy with what his 2020 has looked like and how he can slow down the Baltimore Ravens.
All honesty, I don't feel like I'm not doing good unless we're winning. I'm a competitor. I don't go out there for the glory of stats. I go out there for the glory of wins and the achievement that I, make with my teammates. If I wanted to worry about my stats, I'd go play tennis. So that's for all the spectators and the people playing video games to worry about. But for me, my focus is on about winning.
It seems like the defense has shown pretty significant improvement in the games against Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Minneapolis. Do you feel like you continued to move on that improvement level last week, or there's a little bit of a regression? And if so, how do you make sure you move in the right direction against Baltimore?
Yeah, I feel like our defense is taking tremendous steps each and every week, and it's all about that trust and the bonds that we are making, and being able to be honest with each other and let each other know when we made a mistake or when we're doing right, and also boosting each and every one's confidence on the defense, because just like I said earlier in one other interview, that you look at the records and it's nobody superior in this league. So it's all about getting down and dirty and being able to play for 60 minutes straight to get the job done.
Demarcus, you were obviously a teammate of Dez Bryant, and obviously is now with the Ravens. You guys were pretty close in the locker room. Just what do you think it'll be like to go against him on this next game?
It's going to be a great day, just to reunite with Dez, be on the same field. Even though he's wearing different colors, still got love and respect for Dez, but he know who he going up against, so there ain't no mercy out there on that grass.
There is yet to be a game this season where Demarcus Lawrence has multiple sacks. However, he does have 3.5 in his past 5 games, and he has led the team in pressures this season with 24. So he has been very active. He's seen a little bit of the sacks total that we've seen maybe come accustomed to with Demarcus Lawrence. But like he said, he's not happy with his production without wins. I ask you that same question. Are you happy with Demarcus Lawrence's production?
Look, I'm going to say this. His sacks, I mean, it's not the end of the world that he only has 3.5 or 4.5 sacks here. But I will say this. We need more out of D-Law. We do need more out of D-Law. When you compare him to the other tax bracket guys that he's with, I mean, you're talking about the Aaron Donalds of the world. You're talking about the T.J. Watts and the Miles Garretts of the world. He's just not producing like they are. So I think our defense can only go as far as he takes us. So we need a little bit more out of D-Law.
I agree. So when you put it like that, I mean, he's definitely not having the impact that those other players that he would be compared to, tax bracket wise, are having. Right? You're not fearing D-Law when you step up and play the Dallas Cowboys, and that's a problem for him. I think that if he's not going to be the dominant force physically and have that presence on his defensive line, that he at least mentally and emotionally needs to be the driving force to get the rest of these guys to get going.
The only way you can do that mentally, physically, is to do it. Not talk about it, not try to say, I'll be about it, but you got to go out there and get the sacks. We ain't paying you for nothing else. We paying you for the sacks. Thank you.
That's really where it comes down to, what it boils down to. You want sacks and you want wins. And right now, D-Law's getting a little bit of one, but not so much of the other. Let's go back out, though, to M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore and hear from Nick Eatman for the second time. Nick?
Thanks again, Kyle. And, there's been so much talk about the Cowboys having to stop Baltimore's running attack. It starts with Lamar Jackson, of course, and what they tried to do. But really, you look at this Cowboys secondary, they can't just focus strictly on the run because Baltimore's got some receivers, Hollywood Brown and, of course, Devin Duvernay. They are some speedsters on the outside. So the Cowboys' cornerback situation hasn't really been improved. We talked earlier about the offensive tackle and how many injuries there have been all year. It's really no different at cornerback. These guys have not played together. Anthony Brown's going to miss another game this week. They had to call up Savion Smith from the practice squad. They got Rashard Robinson, of course, Jordan Lewis, Cheeto. These guys are going to be out there playing, and really, we'll see what happens with the Ravens receivers attacking these Cowboys cornerbacks. Of course, Trayvon Diggs is still out. They're hoping to get him back at some point this season, but they can stop the run. That is going to be a focus. But let's watch out for these Cowboys cornerbacks and safeties as well. Donovan Wilson, a big hitting safety, he's not going to play in this game as well. So look for Darian Thompson to start there. So it's going to be a lot of patchwork done in the secondary. That's been the case all year long. Let's see how it affects the Cowboys tonight against the Ravens offense. Kyle, back to you.
Thank you very much, Nick. And it's one of the favorite weeks of the year for the players in the NFL. It's My Cause, My Cleats, where the players get to customize those cleats a little bit. Some of these fire from the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, we already saw Amari Cooper. There was Xavier Woods, Blake Bells. I like those.
Look at the definition. I mean, it's fantastic. Just, silky.
Look at the shoes, how they made today. We had them barbaric-looking shoes.
Nate, would you have had some pretty fire My Cause, My Cleats?
Yeah, I'd have had a traction on mine. I'm moving the human flesh.
There it is.
Yeah. These shoes look sleek, man.
That's what I'm talking about.
Those are clean. Man.
And the thing is, those will probably weigh, 0.0 weight. I mean, it's crazy.
That dude, that got some big feet right there.
He does.
Talking bad about Tyler Biadasz.
Yeah,
Come
he got
on
some big
now.
feet, man.
Cheeto bringing the green in. I see you.
I think Cooper still takes some cake. The literacy lab was fire.
Yeah, that was definitely fire.
Pretty fantastic. Barry, did you have some fun, pretty awesome
for
cleats?
sure. I had every year mines were on point. Man. Every single year I had the Special Olympic cleats. I mean, it was unbelievable. Great cause, great cleat.
Nate's still over here.
He's loving it.
Looking at the cleats.
Yeah, because back in my day, maybe we had to 4-5 cleats on the bottom, big string up, black shoes.
You had all the cleats with the tags still on. That's what it was.
Did you have the Velcro? Did you have the pullover Velcro?
Yeah, man.
Wow.
That's bad, man.
So before we get into our keys to the game, a little breaking news here on Cowboys Pregame Live. We were talking a little bit earlier about Dez Bryant and facing the Cowboys for the first time. That will not happen as Dez Bryant tested positive for COVID-19 prior to tonight's game. So a huge bummer for Cowboys fans as they were going to see Dez Bryant on the field, but no Dez Bryant today because he did test
That was a
positive.
setup all week.
Isn't that the worst?
But he's definitely angry.
Just the hype leading up to this was just so much.
That's set up for the letdown.
It really is. Now, with that being said, we got to get into our Oikos 000 strong keys to the game. Once again, thoughts and prayers with Dez Bryant. Of course, COVID, no joke. But, Nate, whenever it comes to tonight's game, how do the Cowboys get a win?
You take 5 big, humongous guys on your defensive line and set them on every player's head from tackle to tackle. Then you take a grenade and throw it off in there and stop that running game. Blow up everything. Just go forward, blowing up everything.
I don't know if Roger Goodell would be okay with that, but whatever
that's
you got
to
do, stop the run game.
Yeah.
And that's one way to do it, Isaiah.
All right, I'm going to go on the other side of the ball. All right? I'm going on the other side of the ball. Our offensive line has to, if we want any chance, we have to control the 2 big fellas of Baltimore on their interior defensive line. You got the big wolf, I call him the wolf on Wall Street, and then we got Big Campbell. If you can't handle those 2 dudes, you might as well just stay home.
Look, I'm going to keep this nice and short and sweet. Get the ball to your playmakers. Get it to 19, get it to 21. Prolong the drive. Keep Lamar on ice. We got to get it to our playmakers.
Got to find a way to get your playmakers in space. That's one big way to do it. The Cowboys will certainly try and do that today. So 7:05 kickoff. Joe Buck and the whole crew on Fox. Tune in. It's the Cowboys and the Ravens. Playoff implications on both sides of the football in this one. So glad you've been with us here over the last hour. But for Danny Surek, for Nate Newton, Isaiah Stanback, and the great Barry Church, I'm Kyle Yeomans. Enjoy the game, everybody. We'll be back with more post-game after Cowboys and Ravens. Tuesday night.
Cover!
The Dallas Cowboys pregame show, live from the Star in Frisco, was brought to you by AT&T. SWBC Mortgage, financial solutions to help you meet your personal and business goals. Visit swbc.com. And by the Dallas Cowboys Football Club. Want to tour AT&T Stadium? For more information, call 817-892-TOUR or visit dallascowboys.com/tours.